It's good to see you all. Time zones, are they a real thing? Do they exist, or are they a figment of all our imaginations? It's an ethical question, I think. I think it's a moral dilemma. I think it's something you could put, like, do a research paper on. You could what if there were no time zones and we just all lived on universal time? Would that make life easier? Maybe, I don't know. But when the time zones change back for me, it takes me a couple of days to remember when I'm supposed to be on. Like today, I was like, "Oh, I've got hours. I'm gonna sit here. I don't have to be on until like 4 o'clock." Um, I was I was sitting here going, "It's gonna be great. I can go on and then I can do dinner later and it'll be fantastic." And then I was like, "Wait, oh, hold on. No, no, the time zone changed, didn't it?" And yeah, so here we are. It's good to see you all. Great to have you here. We are having some net issues today. If it drops out, I will try and come back, but we've had some instability today up and down. So I will do what I can. All right. By the way, there was this. So are you all ready to be angry? Yeah. So family of Paul Grapsus, a Geelong father, fatally stabbed. So do you guys remember he was stabbed last year, found dead by his pregnant wife in the middle of the street. Now we have some more information about like how this happened, sort of why this happened, that type of thing. So we know a little bit more about it now. And one thing that I learned about it was the young man who killed Paul was trying to break into his car. And heard something about a car early on last year, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm sure that sounds about right. And his wife, here she is, Jessica, she was 6 months pregnant with their third child at the time when Paul was fatally stabbed for basically defending his car. That's it. Like, he went out there, he was gonna walk the dog late at night, couldn't sleep, decided to take the dog for a walk, and a guy was breaking into his car, so he decided to try and, stop that, and the young man stabbed him and killed him, which is brutal. I can't imagine what that is like for the family to, go for a walk with the dog, find someone breaking in, and then be, like, dead. And this is the thing. So Clifford, he's 20 years old now, was a bit younger at the time of the offending. He has pleaded guilty to only manslaughter, saying that he was defending himself against Paul, who he says came at him when he discovered him breaking into his car. I mean, I sort of don't get that. You're the one taking the action to break into someone's property. They should have all the rights in the world to defend that property. How do you get to turn around and say it's self-defense? I don't understand that. How is that self-defense of anything? You're the one. If you hadn't have taken the actions that you did, there would be no confrontation because no one would be at the car. So the only person who's the beginning, end, and be all of all of this is Bailey Clifford. He's the one who had a knife. He's the one breaking into the car. He's the one who stabbed Paul to death and left him there to die on a cold winter's night. It's ridiculous. Um, they're saying that he is facing a maximum of 25 years in jail, but he did plead guilty to that manslaughter. He'll be sentenced at a later date, but Paul's wife, Jessica, I think she's really disappointed. Apparently, she was in the papers yesterday saying, this is not really appropriate. It's not really fair on the family. Yeah. Yeah. Tearful wife unleashes a justice system in furious speech to court after her husband was stabbed to death by a teenager while taking their dog for a walk. And yeah, she's saying, like, you basically stole my future from me, took my husband away while she was heavily pregnant. and she's had to navigate this new life all on her own, and now he gets to plead guilty to manslaughter. She says here, I have agonized over the journey of the justice system. I felt betrayal as the system allows and the tactics that can be used to the benefit of the accused. I felt pressured by the system to succumb to the wishes of the criminal for the risk of finding no justice for Paul at all. I felt anger and the second chances and consideration of the behavior of Bailey Clifford over the course of his life led to this decision. This has been one of the most traumatic experiences next to losing Paul. I agree with her. She says, I am broken. I have lost my faith and trust in justice when decisions can be made about your future without all the information about you at hand. Yet you have stabbed and killed my future and that of my children. Where is Paul's fair trial? I agree. Where is the day in court for Paul? Yeah, so she's really mad. I don't think she likes this pleading guilty to a lesser charge than murder. I think she's pretty annoyed by that. I think she would have liked to have seen a higher sentence because how can you get away with killing a guy for, he was in the process of a crime, which was robbing Paul's vehicle. How can you just be like, oh, yeah, that's manslaughter? To me, that sounds like murder, murder during the commission of a felony or, something like that during the commission of another crime, is breaking into that vehicle. He should be facing like two different charges. It's really, really sad. Glitter says, I would be mad too. I agree. Rachel says she has every right to be upset. Yes, I agree with you guys. Jonelle said, this guy is going to go away for attempted murder for decades. Well, I don't think he will. I think, yeah, it's 25 years maximum, and I can't see him getting that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be something like, I don't know, it probably like 13 years, something like that, with a minimum of 8, 7, or something like that. So you'll have to serve, 7 or 8 years. Normally, manslaughter charges don't get a maximum penalty. Even I think I'm a little high on that. I think it could be something like 7 or 8 to serve 4 years in prison as the minimum before parole. So I definitely think I was a little high on that first go at it. Yeah, 4 years, 3 years, something like that, and the max is gonna be 7 to 8. I bet you. Any money. They are not going to throw this guy in jail for 25 years. They're just not going to. This is the punk here, this little punk. He says he is very remorseful and that he, feels that remorse every day. Do you only feel that because you got caught and now you're in jail? Because that's not real remorse. That's being sad at your circumstances that you put yourself in by killing another human. That's not like I feel sad for what I did. Not the same thing. Um, Yeah, his lawyer's like, he feels real remorse. You sure about that? You sure he's just not sad about maybe spending 25 years behind bars, maybe? Um, they're saying here, Clifford, the accused, had an atrocious criminal behavior leading up to the crime last year. He had avoided jail in June 2023 despite being convicted over crimes related to a 3-month rampage, which saw him threaten a victim at knife point. So it seems he's quite proficient at, you know, threatening people with a bladed instrument. They're saying here the magistrate at the time spared him an immediate prison sentence, telling him she hoped he used the leniency as a second chance at life. She said, this can be a blip in your life that you may look back on and say going to prison for 6 days was a good thing. If you had thrown him into prison the first time, Paul would probably still be alive today. When are we going to get tough on this type of revolving door offending? that is happening, especially in Victoria. When are we going to stop that? How many people would still be here today if these crimes and sentences were actually given a proper weighted, sentence, and actually was like, "Oh, you'll go away for 4 years, you'll go away for 3 years, you'll go away for whatever the 80% of your crime that you committed is." How many people, how many loved ones, how many families would still be together if they did that? I would like to know. Probably many, probably many. Paul, for one, I'm sure we've read about 25 females that have been killed by people on parole. Jonah said he's just too dangerous. Yes. Lisa with a Y says, "Thank God not covering Laurie Vallow." I am not covering Laurie Vallow, no. I don't do the Laurie Vallow trial here. Joe Neal said, "I'm a total bleeding heart liberal commie lunatic, but America has been getting sentencing right for the last 10 years or so. Hey, any country where they think you might be a vampire and they sentence you to like 399 years in jail, they might have a decent idea about sentencing." I love that. I love when they sentence someone. They're like, "Yes, this guy's got like 10 life terms. He's going to be in jail for 648 years." And they're like, "But sir, the maximum life is only like, somewhere around, 90. Yeah, that's okay. What if he comes back from the dead? Then we have to put him in jail again. So we can't take that risk. We must sentence him for many lifetimes over." Right. And Dharma got like 900. There's been a few. There's been a few. Um, yeah, Lisa, thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. It's very kind for the super sticker. That is very, very sweet of you. Thank you. Let's see. Good work, my friend. I appreciate it. In a very cold Melbourne today, very cold Melbourne. It is not a warm day down here. It is quite cold actually. It's bit foggy outside during the morning. Looks very wintry out there. All right, let me see. No, that's the wrong name. Good work, Ping. Yeah, I want to see if we got a court update for this. The ABC didn't cover it? That's weird. Hmm. I'm very, very confused that the ABC did not do a story on it. But yeah, here you go. Yeah, family of Paul, Geelong father fatally stabbed come face to face with their killer or his killer. His name is Bailey Clifford. And Bailey Clifford seems to have been going down the path of probably killing someone eventually. They said here Paul went to confront Clifford and was stabbed 7 times with a fishing knife. He collapsed and died next to his vehicle. It was his wife who found his cold, lifeless body hours later when she realized he failed to make it home from walking the dog. They say Clifford, who was 18 at the time, fled the scene and was arrested days later after police uncovered his fingerprints and DNA at the crime scene. What do we say on this channel? You don't have to be smart to be a murderer, a criminal, whatever. You just decided to kill someone, leave all your DNA and fingerprints there while breaking into a car. Very clever. Very clever people. Um, yeah, apparently Jessica looked Clifford in the eye in court and asked him, "How could you leave Paul there?" Like she was asking, "How could you leave him in the middle of the night, dying from his stab wounds, and let him just bleed out and die on that road, middle of a cold night, for her to find in the morning?" I can't imagine what that would be like to wake up in the morning, not find your loved one, and then have to go looking for them, and you find their body out on the road, like in your street. She has every right to be absolutely furious at a sentencing deal for manslaughter. Joe Neal says, "You know what I'm saying though? America has really started to take on violent." Well, in some places, yes. In some places, no. But some places are getting it right in the USA. Victoria, no. Victoria just thinks, let him out. Just give them bail. Let him go home to their mom and dad. It's crazy. Um, yeah, there you go. So we will get a sentencing now that he has pleaded guilty, and we'll see. But I'm expecting, yeah, 3 to 4 years with a maximum of like 7 to 8. I would be surprised if he got a higher sentence. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe Victoria really has changed, you know, their tune on sentencing. Maybe this will be the first one that they actually do something positive. Who knows? But my experience tells me that normally something like this gets you about 3 to 4 years with a maximum of 8. So, yeah. He's also pleaded guilty to 2 counts of theft between September 14 and 15 in 2023. They're saying here the fatal blow to Paul was one of 3 stab wounds to his back. So he was stabbed several times, but the ones to his back were the ones that actually killed him. And she's had the babies now. So she had her baby. There's Paul and his wife. She's had that child now. So she now has to look at a future of how to raise these children, and deal with the justice system. I just want to see if she said anything about her children here. Yeah. She says, Paul had the privilege of loving his precious little girls for only 2 and 4 years each. She says, my bright, innocent, hopeful children have had their father robbed from them. My girls will be fortunate to remember him, to have one memory of his voice or time that they cherish together. All we have is photographs and stories of Paul. They are not old enough to hold one memory for themselves when they grow up. Um, hmm. Yeah, and it says here, Clifford's guilty plea and his age are set to secure him a significant discount on his sentence. Why do we keep letting them out? What do you think's going to happen? Do you think this guy, after a magistrate already gave him a second chance and was like, don't be a bad boy. I'm giving you a second chance. Make sure this is the blip on the radar to your life of being a very good citizen. And then he went and killed someone. What do you think's going to happen when he gets out of prison in like 3.5 years' time? He's probably most likely going to reoffend in some way. May not be a murder, it could be, but he may, pull a knife on someone, has shown a proclivity for pulling a weapon on people. Got to get tough. The more deterrence we put in place, the more people will second guess about pulling a knife on someone, and the more they'll just be like, it is way cheaper to just run away because it's not worth killing a guy and getting sent to jail for like 35 years. Wendy said light sentence, no deterrent for such behavior, will re-offend. Deterrence is a myth? No, it's not. It's like shotguns are a myth. They're not. They live. They're around. People own them. Sometimes shotguns can be a deterrent. Depends how you use it. Retired RN said, I'm late. It's good to be back with Ping and the Pinksters. Good to see you all. James Avery, hey buddy, how are you? By the way, I want to say thank you to my friend Peekaboo Cockatiel. She was very kind and sent in a donation yesterday, but she left a very worrying message in the donation, and I wanted to just talk to her for a second. She said, I'm sorry it's been a while, been some rough times, love Peekaboo. Peekaboo, I would just be happy if you came and visited the channel. I like when people come and hang out here. That's it. I don't do the show for monetary reward. If I did, I probably would have stopped doing live shows like a year ago because there's not a ton of money in it. I think it's also a bad way and a bad precedent to start doing true crime just because you want money from it. I think it's better if you really love it, you care about these victims, and you want to tell stories of people that matter. So to me, that's why I do it. But I do appreciate the help because, um, well, the cost for everything had just gone through the roof. So I do appreciate it. And it's good to hear from you, my friend. James Avery said, I like the name Peekaboo Cockatiel. I think she just calls herself Peekaboo now, but her full name was Peekaboo Cockatiel, which I like the full name, but she's a very sweet lady. Okay. I really wish I had more to tell you about this, but I think I've covered just about everything. It's good to see an update though. This sort of went quiet for like quite a while. And I remember when Paul was found dead, we talked about it. And then we talked about when they found his killer. We talked about that. But then everything sort of went very quiet. That's not unusual with Australian cases. It's pretty typical. So someone will be arrested and then you won't hear very much until they actually go to trial. Very similar to Aaron Patterson. We don't know a ton publicly. And as soon as we go to trial, it'll all come out. I promise. That Aaron Patterson trial is going to be the biggest trial in Australia this year, maybe in the last 10 years, maybe in the last 25 years. I don't know. But it's going to be massive. Yeah, it's going to be a great trial. It's going to be a good one. Maryland says Peekaboo has birds. Is Peekaboo here? I didn't see her. Maybe she's not here tonight. But hi, Peekaboo. Hey, my friend. By the way, if you are a bird lover, if you like things that fly, I saw a very sad story. Like every spring we talk about the peregrine falcons that nest in Melbourne on top of the building. I heard there's one in England that's on top of a church. But apparently, some jerk off went on top of the church today and stepped on all the eggs and killed all the baby birds. Did you hear about this? Here, I'll show you very quickly. Yeah, it was in the paper today. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, here. Traumatized bird lovers watch in horror as someone stamps on the peregrine falcon eggs in cathedral nest that was being live streamed to the world. So they had a live stream on the nest, and people watching it actually saw this guy disturb the birds and then walk on them and kill the baby eggs. So here's the photo of the poor eggs, and here's the fella. You can see his leg. He was about to he came out of somewhere, scared off the mum bird, and then walked over the eggs, ending their breeding season until next year. It's very sad. Um, if they could reach the one in Collins Street, it's like 100 floors up. I don't think anyone's reaching it. It is terrible news, I know. Yeah, so the breeding season has ended for that particular couple of birds, unfortunately. They'll have to wait again until next year. So there's mum bird, and you can see she was there with the eggs. They're still good. She was moving around, but something scared her off, and it was a door that opened. There was a little hatch that opened, and the guy stepped out of it and then walked all over them. There you go. There's mum bird. Um, looking after the eggs, looking very stern. They did arrest him, so he's been arrested, and he is currently assisting police with their inquiries. So we'll see what happens with that jerk off. It's not cool, eh? Not cool. They're saying here, yeah, and they've shut down the live stream too. No more live stream. That happens in Australia too, with the one in Collins Street. If the babies die or they don't hatch or something, they just turn it off for the year. So same protocol. So yeah, poor mom. She lost all three of the babies, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't know if anyone was watching, but yeah, maybe they need to lock that door. Maybe there needs to be like a better lock with a key put on that particular hatch that gets to the breeding area. Yeah, so he has been arrested. But yeah, I saw that in the paper today and I was like, "Oh my god, what kind of person would do that?" All right. So it's been a day of homicide. A Yeah, if I can get to the story. Good work, Ping. Uh no. Yeah, if we go here, apparently a 86-year-old man has been killed here. They're saying 2 dead in separate attacks as third fights for life under police guard after 24 hours of horror in crime-hit state, which is Victoria, where I live. They said homicide squad detectives have arrested a 55-year-old man over the suspected murder of 86-year-old Paul Whalen in Cowes on the tourist-friendly Phillip Island in Victoria. They're saying in an unrelated incident just hours earlier, a 32-year-old local man was found dead 129 kilometers away in O'Brien Lane in Moe, Gippsland, about 4:30 p.m. on Monday. They arrested a man over the Phillip Island tragedy. Is believed to be one of Mr. Whalen's three sons. So, Mr. Whalen was killed by his own son. 55-year-old man. How awful. I will look at that in a minute, Kathy Lynch. I'll look at that in a minute. So yeah, he was killed by his own son, 55-year-old man. For what reason? Don't know. But then there was another man that died 129 kilometers away in Moe. They say, according to neighbors, the property contained three houses. Yeah, I'm just trying to find out. We know about the other one. Yeah. Yeah, the Moe murder hunt was launched after a body was found slumped over in an alleyway just off the town's main thoroughfare opposite Moe railway station. So there is a murder inquiry. They say the man had been stabbed multiple times. They say a 26-year-old woman of no fixed address, which means she's probably homeless, was interviewed by police but later released pending further inquiries. Yeah, let's see what we can find about the Moe one. I don't see a lot about the other murder. Weird, but there you go. A son that killed his father. I was trying to find a bit more about it, but I don't see very much. But there you go, Mr. Whalen. That's him there. 86 years old. I think if you make it to that age, you should become like a protected species, right? You shouldn't be allowed to kill anyone who goes over 80. It's pretty hard to get there. Harvey said, I'm still alive, glad March is over. Me too. I don't like March either. Let's all be racist against March because why not? All right. Yeah, I was trying to find out why that person why they were stabbed in Moe. By the way, Moe isn't too far away from where we're going for the trial. So it's nice to know I'll be nice and safe walking around the local town at night. So after court, when I try to go get some dinner, I'm glad to know that I won't get, I'll be able to get back to my hotel very easily, that I'm not going to get like killed or anything. Sounds like I might have to take like, a gun. Ping might have to get protection, not a condom, like a firearm maybe. Maybe both. Maybe a condom and a firearm. No, I don't know. Rachel said, "Killing your own family is just terrible." Is it a family annihilator? Not really, though, right? Because he only killed his father. How often, I wonder, do sons kill their fathers? I don't think it's that often, right? I would say that that is a unusual crime. That a you know like the I especially over 80, I would think that would be sort of rare. Yeah, I just want to find more about Paul Whelan. Respected businessman. Apparently, he was a respected businessman and entrepreneur. Okay. Let's see. Can't find too much more. Yeah. Homicides detectives investigating the death of Paul Whelan, 86, at sprawling property on Phillip Island. They said homicide squad are now probing his death while a man believed to be his son was under police guard in a hospital with self-inflicted injuries late Monday evening. But they don't say too much more than that. They don't say why his son might have wanted to hurt him. What do you think? Do you think it's like that TV show about the people who own the news company and they all want to become the heir? Is it called Succession? Maybe this is like Succession, but like a murder version. Maybe they had to kill the patriarchy to get the title. Maybe that's what it was. They said they are now probing his death. He also served as a director at San Remo District Financial, which ran Bendigo Bank in San Remo, Cowes, and Grantville. All right. So he had to do with finance. All right. Don't know why. It doesn't really give us a reason of why his son would want to kill the dad, but everyone described the elderly man as a lovely gentleman and an exceedingly wealthy entrepreneur who split his time between the city and the country. Neighbors said they got up this morning and there was an ambulance and police car across the road, and then they noticed more police cars and a paramedic. They said, "I'm surprised. You never expect this sort of thing to happen." He says nothing happens in this area. So they said a man in his 50s was later found with suspected self-inflicted injuries in the nearby town of Ventnor. He said he was taken to police hospital under guard. They said it appears at this stage the people involved are known to one another. Well, you would hope so, being that there's their father and son. If they weren't known to each other, we'd have a very different story. Yeah, it's about the Murdochs. Yeah. Gayla says, "When I die, you will inherit my company." Okay, you can go now then. I hate morning said, just saw on Wikipedia, the USA has around 300 patricides every year. Really, 300? Where they kill the dad? Really? Hold on. Here in the USA, they account for roughly 2% of all homicides, with fathers being more likely to be killed by their children than mothers. Really? I would never have thought that. Wow, I would have thought it would have been the mums 100%. That's really interesting. Here's some interesting demographics though. Teenage sons, aged between 16 to 19, are most often the perpetrators in parental killings. Sons commit around 90% of all parricides, which is killing of both parents. Um, Characteristics of the perpetrator. Many perpetrators are white, middle to upper class youth with no history of antisocial or violent behavior. They tend to be mediocre to above average students, loners, anxious to please peers, and overly polite to adults. They often hide lives of chaos and persecution, including physical, mental, and sometimes SA. They say the median age of victims was 61 and the mean age was 63. If you are a male and you have sons and you are around the age of between 60 and 65, you should be packing at all times anytime your son is around. You are right in that sweet spot of when they'll kill you, especially if they're aged between 16 and 19 years old. If that's you out there, you should look at your family very differently. No, okay, I'm just kidding. You shouldn't, but it is a very interesting statistic. I Hate Morning says, my dad told my mom he wanted daughters since they don't try to be the boss. Girls just give you nightmares and panic attacks. Probably only if you abuse them, maybe. Wendy R says, an older teen killed his father where I grew up. Shocking to the community. I believe there was mental illness involved. The kid was a bit odd all his life. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, so it's only 1 in 1,000,000 deaths in America could be parricide. So that's interesting. 1% of all homicide. Hmm. Oh no, parricide is the killing of one's father. Sorry, I thought when the when the couple of letters change, it means it's both parents, but no, it's just the dad. So we're just talking about the dad, which is what we were talking about before. Good work, Ping. Let's see. Yeah, 18-year-olds in the US, United Kingdom, these are often younger than the age of majority, really. So that's really interesting that like the majority of the people who do it are under the age of 18. Maybe that's where like a lot of friction points in youth development really are between the ages of like 15 and sort of 17, 18. There's a lot of stresses that occur in a teenager's life. You know, graduating high school, if that's what they're doing, or a lot more responsibility, becoming an adult, you know, growing up. There's different societal pressures, social things. Um, I would say the stresses get quite severe the closer they get to 18. And maybe this is what pushes some of them over the edge to kill their parents. Not saying it's a good thing, just saying that may be part of it. Hernandez? I don't know if that is related, but I get what you mean. Oh, then you mean the Hernandez brothers? I don't know. They just recently got their chance for being resentenced, basically shot down in flames. So that looked really good for about a minute and then just crashed and burned. They don't look like they're gonna get out anytime soon. Let's see. That's interesting. In Japan, once determined that patricide brought capital punishment or life in prison. However, the law was abolished because of the trial of Tojiki. I'm probably saying that wrong. Patricide case in which a woman killed her father in 1968 after she was SA'd by him and bore their children. Yes, I could understand why you might need some leniency other than capital punishment or life in prison for that one. Ugh. There's a bunch of known examples right here. Robert and Michael Beaver, or Bever, killed their parents and three siblings in 2015. Joel Michael Guy Jr. killed and dismembered both of his parents on the Saturday after Thanksgiving in 2016. I don't know that one. Michael Guy Jr. Do you guys know that one? Joel Michael Guy Jr. I can't say I know that one. He was sentenced to life in prison though. Let me see. Found guilty. He was found guilty in October 2020. Oh, that chapter did a story on it. So if you like that chapter, like I do, I like that channel. You can watch a breakdown of it over there. Yeah, let me take you to the Knoxville News Sentinel. They have a bit of a breakdown of it here.
The jury found the defendant, Joel Michael Guy, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder of Joel Guy Sr.
Count number 2, please.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Joel Michael Guy, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder of Lisa Guy.
Count number 3.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Joel Michael Guy, guilty of first-degree felony murder of Lisa Guy.
Count number 4.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Joel Michael Guy, guilty of first-degree felony murder of Joel Guy Sr.
Count number 5.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Joel Michael Guy, guilty of felony murder of Lisa Guy.
Count number 6.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Joel Michael Guy, guilty of abuse of a corpse of Joel Guy Sr.
And count number 7.
I don't know what's going on with the volume. Oh, it's probably because I had it turned down. Good work, Ping. Oh, this is from Lauren Crime. Yeah, we can't play that. But it was just showing him in court, basically reading out his charges and verdict, and he got done on all of it. And he got sentenced to life in prison. Life in prison. So the Bruce Maguire Mind Shock channel. No, can't say I know that one. Maybe you have to plug your headphones in, my friend. Yeah, I can't say I know this one. Michael Guy Jr. I think it might be slightly before. No, I was around. I don't know why we didn't do this one. Yeah, apparently his parents were soon to retire and would stop providing money to their son. He was to receive a $500,000 life insurance policy if both were dead or missing. The murder involved an elaborate plot to stab both parents, dismember, and dissolve their remains, clean and burn down some of the house, as well as frame the father for the crime. They say Guy Jr. was injured during the stabbing and left the partially dissolved remains in the house when he left to dress his wounds. Before he returned, police discovered the bloody scene upon performing a welfare check by a coworker that had called after noticing Lisa was missing. They also discovered a backpack. Oh yeah, I actually do know this one. Yeah, I do know this one. They also discovered a backpack containing a notebook detailing the planned plastic bins with both parents' torsos and dismembered limbs dissolved in acid, an acid-based solution of corrosive chemicals described by prosecutors as a diabolical stew of human remains. Ugh. The father's severed hands on the floor and the mother's head in a pot on the stove, which had been boiling for over a day at the time of the discovery. What the hell? He boiled his mother's head on the stove for over 24 hours. Can you imagine what that house smelt like? What the F? Oh, that is disgusting. I think it's also disgusting that he tried to dissolve them in an acid-based solution of corrosive chemicals. See, the thing is, a lot of people get that wrong. You have to use like the right type of chemicals, and even then, it doesn't work 100%. A lot of people think you can drop something into the acid and they'll be like no more human, but that's not the way it works. Um, there is a thing called, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you any of this, but there is a thing called piranha solution that you can use. Um, you're still going to be left with some sort of residue, which could be tested for DNA. So I don't think it's that great of a lime. Yeah, you can use lime. You can also use piranha solution too. Uh, Dharma did that, yeah, but a lot of the ones that have tried and been even partially successful have left things behind, like bone fragment, DNA, uh, just like residues that have been tested to be able to find things. It's not the greatest. It's just not the greatest solution to that problem. A trophy, perhaps. What was he going to do? Walk around with his mum's head like on a totem pole? And just like take her to a rave like she's some sort of doof, like a doof stick thing, where she in the middle of the rave in front of like like the DJ, put some glow sticks in her eyes and just sort of like, hey, come here, this is where we are. We're at the front of the rave. You got a skull on a stick. Yeah, that's my mom's head. No, I don't think so. I don't know what he would do with it. Maybe he wanted to go bowling. I have no idea. Pretty gross. Pretty gross. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what a doof stick is, then I can't help you. Here. If you've never seen what that is, then I guess I could show you. It's like those, they hold them at the raves and people make like funny signs or like, it's so your friends can find you in a giant crowd. Here you go. Here's some funny ones. They're chucks, that's probably Australian. Spring cleaning and summer ketamining. Yep. Gimme, gimme, gimme. A gram after midnight. Yes. And then a pinger pig. Hey, there you go. It's a relative of mine. Pinger pig. I think that's a good one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he was going to make that out of his mum. But when someone said trophy, that's the first thing that came to mind, was that he'd put her head on a stick like that and take it to a rave. I'm not sure why. You don't like Peppa Pig? Sialoom? I don't know what that is. Ping is not a chemist. I can't tell you anything. But I can tell you that I do know a little bit about dissolving remains in corrosive chemicals. And I can tell you that there's been several cases where people have been caught either using the wrong chemical. There was a guy in Australia. What case was that? Was that the bank one where they put the bodies in the barrels? They used the wrong type of chemical, and instead of dissolving the remains, they preserved the remains because they used the wrong type of solution. It's pretty funny. Hold on, I'll show it to you. All right, I actually looked it up. I can't remember if it is Snowtown, but I do remember that there was some case where they tried to dissolve bodies in acid, and they just used the wrong they used the wrong stuff, and it ended up preserving the people. I think it was Snowtown because that sounds about right in my head. Uh, yeah. So here's a paper on it. They said if a body is dissolved in sulfuric acid, will there still be DNA evidence? And I think they said that yes, there would still be something there that you could test. Yeah, so they're saying that because hydrochloric acid is an oxidizing acid, so the low pH alone would not destroy DNA evidence. There you go. There you go. Told you, Ping knows all types of creepy information about things I shouldn't. Joe Neal said inside the bones. Yeah, so not always. It won't always break down everything, including bone. And I think that's how a couple of killers have been caught because they found bone fragments or pieces of human in acid. Wendy R said, "How do you get that amount of chemical without raising suspicion?" Well, with hydrochloric acid, there's probably no way to get that amount, like, to fill a bathtub. So if you're gonna use something like battery acid's only 1% of pure sulfuric acid, right? So you would need a way of purifying that or somehow getting enough of it to do what you wanna do. I don't know how that would work. You'd probably get put on a watch list or they'd come and arrest you because they'd be like, not again." They tried to buy it from the big box store downtown. They tried to order that 100-liter tub of acid. They said, "We just leave it on the website." So that murderers basically dob themselves in, and every time someone orders it, we just arrest them because we know they have committed a murder. I would love if that was true, and that would be so funny. If if they just left it as a trap for murderers, they're like Googling around in their town trying to find, like, the correct acid, and they're like, "Oh my god, I found a 100-liter tub of it." And as soon as they order it, the cops just show up at your house, like, with the forensic tech, and they're like, "Oh, alright, show us where the body is. Like, we know you're trying to melt someone." That would be pretty funny. Like to catch a thief trap at chemicals, right. I think that would be, hilarious. I think that would be a very good episode of, like, some crime show. Yeah, hold on, bodies in the barrel. I can't remember if it is Snowtown. I wanna say yes. I wanna say it is Snowtown. I wanna say my memory tells me that that is correct. Investigation. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know where I heard that. Maybe Ping's making things up again. Lisa says, "Make a website, Ping. Like to catch a predator, but to catch an idiot murderer." I'm gonna do that, but I think the cops may come in and arrest me for pretending to try and sell like 100 liters of sulfuric acid. I think they'd probably be like, "Oh my god, who's this guy trying to sell a prohibited chemical to the public?" I'd have to somehow get the police on my side so they would know it's a trap. You'll be my witness in court that I wasn't actually melting bodies, that I was actually trying to catch murderers. Imagine if we had that. It was like a live show, and then I could show you it in live time of like someone ordering the chemicals, and we'll like rock up to their house and be like, "Show us the bodies. Come on, buddy. We know you killed someone." It's like we already know no one else wants 100 liters of acid, but people who kill people. Just where'd you put them? Where are the bodies? I think that would be the craziest live show in all of YouTube. Wendy asked it, all of us have probably have suspicious search history looking up things. Oh my god, the things I look up. I don't at least I have a show and I can be like, look, I have a channel. I've got over like 3,000 hours of talking about this stuff. I'm not a murderer, I promise. Not yet anyway, but not today. Not today. Maybe later. Maybe next year. But not right now. I'm good. Uh, Gail says a free trip to Australia. There's only one thing that is illegal to look up. Yeah, that's right. That's what is how many licks to get to the middle of a Tootsie Roll. It's illegal. You should never find it. You should never Google for that. They you'll have a watch list at your house tomorrow. They will kick in your door, Raptor Squad. No, I don't think they will. But Lisa said there's a lot of stories of bodies in barrels that people have been caught. Maybe not Snowtown. Yeah, the only other one I can think of is we read a story last year about a guy who killed his wife in Parramatta in Sydney, and he tried to dissolve her in a bathtub, and I think he used the wrong type of acid as well, and basically it didn't work. But that was a very sad case, very sad. It's full of crime, old man questions, boxing info. I actually do. Did you guys watch the Tim Zoo fight on the weekend? I did. Good to see Tim Zoo get a win after losing twice last year. Kathy Lynch says 3. 3.3 or 3? 3 licks to the center of a Tootsie Roll pop. Do you really think that's true? I heard it was something like 42. No, I'm just kidding. By the way, who's getting ready for Coachella? Who is going to do Couchella, which is where you sit on your couch and watch it? Who's going to do Couchella with Ping? Who wants to hang out and watch Coachella with me next weekend? Woman of Steel said, "Did he use vinegar?" Nah, it was a different. There's another acid that sounds very similar to sulfuric acid. It's got a slightly different name, and people who don't know what they're doing with chemistry often just, oh, that's it, and it doesn't actually dissolve people. It mummifies them basically. 3 is what the commercial says. Really? I'm in Australia. They don't play that commercial here. How I know about it? I don't know. I live in Germany. No, I don't live in Germany. But yeah, if you guys like Coachella, I think it'll be a fun weekend next weekend. I am looking forward to it every year. I have a fun time not doing true crime and listening to great artists and different live shows and having a day off and just or a couple of days off and just watching music. Kathy said the owl in the commercial said 3. Oh, does he? I've only seen the first bit where the owl asks a question. It's sort of like the people who only read the first part of the book, but don't read the second part. Yeah, you lived in that's right. Oh, he's talking to you. Okay. Yes. I want to look up that one we talked about. That one in Parramatta. Hold on. Yeah, I have it here. It's Mirage Zafar. This is it. I can't remember if it was this one. Let's have a look. Man who murdered his pregnant wife, Anima Hyatt, in North Parramatta Unit jail for more than 2 decades. So he got like 20 years, 21 and a half years in prison. But I can't remember if it was this one. Yeah, it was here. Zafar had placed Miss Hyatt or Hyatt's body in a bathtub filled with hydrochloric acid. I don't know if he's the one who preserved it though. Hydrochloric or hydrofluoric? Hold on, what's the correct one? Hydrochloric, so that is the right one. Sulfuric acid? I don't know what the difference is, but Ping's not a chemist. Maybe it's not this one. They say Miss Hyatt's family was in court for the proceedings on Thursday, broke down when the sentence was announced. He got a very good sentence. It was basically an abusive relationship. She was going to leave him. He didn't like the whole idea of basically having his marriage dissolved, for lack of a better word. And he killed her. for basically for controlling her. That's what it is. He tried to control her. You know what's really spooky? When I saw this photo last year of this apartment block in North Parramatta, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the apartment that I used to live in." And I was like, "Oh wait, no, it's not. It's actually one about a street away." But it looks very similar to the apartments that I used to live in when I lived in this area. Yeah, I like this. He drove to Bunnings and purchased 20 liters of hydrochloric acid, which he poured over her lifeless body in the couple's bathtub in an attempt to dispose of it. Justice Sweeney said Zafar then Googled, "Can hydrochloric acid burn through skin?" several times, later purchasing additional containers of the corrosive substance to pour into the bathtub. Should have used piranha solution, you silly man. She also said Miss Hyatt was pregnant at the time of her death and her body had to be identified via DNA testing after being put in the acid. He's not a good guy. Very, very bad guy. The fact he went back to the store and bought more acid to keep the active ingredient going is brutal. The fact that they had to identify her via DNA testing only. He needed sulfuric acid. It is awful. Pretty bad case. And it was all because she wanted to leave him and she thought he had basically she married in a haste and she didn't want to stay married to him. Basically, she thought it was a mistake. Here's a photo of him driving to that big box store to pick up that acid to put in the bathtub with her. So pretty gross. Yeah, so that's the one I remember, but it doesn't sound like it preserved her. It sounds like it did break her down, unfortunately. That's not the one I was thinking of. I wish we could figure it out. What here? All right, if that sentence doesn't get me on the watch list, I don't know which one will. I'm not going to tell you what I wrote, but if I get picked up on the national watch list, um, yeah, it's weird. I could have sworn it was this one. That's why the bodies were still decomposing when they found them, I think. Bodies of some. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm if I ever figure it out and I remember which one it is, I will tell you. Woman of Steel said it was a huge mistake. Well, it is. It was. He's now in jail for 25 or 21 and a half years. He's not getting out anytime soon. But unfortunately, that poor woman and her child, her unborn child, both killed. There's a photo of him, by the way, before his jail time. Woman of Steel said, "Doesn't it take a long time?" I think so. I think it depends what you use and the amount of time you have and the amount of active ingredient, that type of thing. I think it would all alter your timeline and how many kilos, and it's all very very specific. Joe Neal said, "I ultimately want to be a forensic nurse or PA working with survivors of crime, CSA probably." Good work. Keep going with your studies. Weird. Could hear like voices, and I'm like, am I going crazy? Am I starting to hear angels? What's going on? Maybe it's my dementia. All right. I don't have dementia. Not that I know of, anyway. Maybe tomorrow. All right. Let me get to another story. By the way, this happened last night down here. Very sad, actually. Imagine this is you. Traveler dies after choking on food at Adelaide Airport despite frantic efforts by hero bystanders. They're saying that the 50-year-old man choked on food, and many people nearby tried to resuscitate the 50-year-old traveler by clearing his airways and using a defibrillator. However, the man could not be saved and later died. How sad, right? That you're traveling somewhere, probably going to have a good time, and you end up stopping for a bite to eat, and you die at an airport. I think that would be a lot of people's worst nightmare. Let's see. Oh, actually, that one out of California. That's right. That soccer coach has been charged with the murder of that 13-year-old boy. A 43-year-old man. Um, apparently, he did SA that little boy. So let me play that update for you.
News right now, we have an update in a teenager's death. The investigation, a soccer coach questioned about his disappearance and the death of that 13-year-old boy from the San Fernando Valley. That soccer coach has been charged with murder. Good evening, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. The LA County DA just made that announcement within the last hour, I should say. Investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us live from our News Operations Center with those details. Eric.
Yeah, as we first reported this afternoon, the criminal complaint filed today accuses that soccer coach of first-degree murder for allegedly killing Oscar Omar Hernandez last week. The charges also include a special circumstance allegation that the boy was murdered during the commission of another violent crime, such as a robbery or rape, although the DA did not give us much detail there. Authorities say the parents of Oscar Omar Hernandez tried calling him after he went to visit the coach. The coach answered, but they couldn't get Hernandez on the phone, and that's when they reported him missing to the police last weekend. The boy was then found in Oxnard a few days later. Now, we reported on Friday that LAPD detectives initially investigating the missing persons case questioned, then arrested the coach, but it was on an unrelated charge from a 2024 sexual assault case up in the Antelope Valley. That coach that you saw a moment ago, 43-year-old Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino, has been in jail all weekend. The investigation into the boy's death now handed over from the LAPD to the LA County Sheriff's Department because it's believed where that murder took place up in the Antelope Valley. The DA and the Sheriff's Office said repeatedly today during this announcement they believe there are more assault victims out there who have not come forward and talked with police. They've urged them to speak up.
That if you may have been a victim, please come forward. I know it's not easy. I know it could be either embarrassing, you don't want to tell somebody, but it's very important that we bring justice if for some reason anybody feels.
I think I agree with the sheriff here. There is definitely more victims. I don't think this was his first time. And judging from the SA charge that they filed for 2024, it tells me that his offending dates back even before this incident and murder. Joniel says, have you been to SoCal? I have been to SoCal. I have indeed. Woman of Steel said the poor little guy, just wanted to learn soccer. Just wanted to be a big time soccer player and, be like his heroes that he sees on the TV. And instead, a absolute, sorry excuse for a human, not even a human, subhuman, decided to kill him and take advantage of his body. Disgusting.
Years coming forward, even as a youth or a family, because you may be here undocumented. We're not going to ask about that. Please, you need to come forward.
So Sheriff Robert Luna there repeating that they believe based on the evidence that's been gathered in this case so far, that there may be other assault victims out there who've encountered this soccer coach who Luna said was working as a travel team coach based in the San Fernando Valley, certainly telling us that this man that you see there on your screen had a lot of access to children. And they also said the case from 2024 that was also just brought as a separate criminal charge involved a 16-year-old boy. So clearly their effort right now is to gather more potential witnesses, more information against him. We are expecting Garcia Aquino to make an initial court appearance tomorrow on now both this murder and that assault charge. Reporting live in the News Operations Center, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
The big trend in
So there you go. I think we all had a feeling that's exactly where that was going to go, unfortunately. I think that was pretty obvious early on. They just need to get their ducks in a row and charge him. So they're saying here the LA County prosecutor filed that murder charge with special circumstances Monday against the 43-year-old Mario Eduardo Garcia Equano. And they're saying here he was arrested last week on the teen's disappearance, although he was booked in on an unrelated assault charge from last year. They're saying he befriended their family who allowed their juvenile son to stay with him at his residence in Palmdale. Never, ever do that. I don't know how to say that more strongly. Ever. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what type of special relationship or whatever. The only barrier between predators and your kids, as sad as this is you and your parenting. And I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying, let it be a lesson to everyone else that it doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter if it's freaking Girl Guides or going to the freaking, I don't know, could be their school teacher. How many school teachers have we seen that have predated on their students? Like heaps of them, heaps and heaps. And it's frustrating because that little boy didn't have to die. And we could have maybe found out about a predator earlier. Stayed over at his home. Stayed over. Yeah, they're saying that there may be additional victims. Well, I agree. I just don't think his offending started yesterday. Here's the LA County Sheriff's Department sort of bulletin. There's his photo, probably from a driver's license. There's him in lockup. And they're saying here that he was arrested on the incident occurred February 22nd, 2024 in the 41,000 block of 27th Street West in the city of Palmdale. This was the original one. Investigating allegations of suspected SA of a male juvenile by Mario, but last year. Yeah, detectives may believe there is additional unidentified victims that are seeking the public's help in identifying any additional victims. Anyone with information regarding the case or who believes they may have been a victim is urged to contact the LA County Sheriff's Department Special Victims Bureau. And I get it. I get what they're saying, that a lot of people are quite scared right now to come forward, especially people in the migrant community. With all the stuff going on and deportations and flights out of the country, I could understand why they think that people may be hesitant to come forward and give the information they know. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it for the memberships. That's very kind. To get a membership, if we give one away or someone donates one, you have to have gifting turned on. So make sure you go into your settings and do that if you would like a membership. Yes, thank you to the both of you, Lisa and Catatonic. It's very kind of you both. Woman of Steel said, at least one of us was with my boys every single practice, day camp, Cub Scout event, and karate. Yeah. Joe Neal said, no one talks about sex crimes in the Latino community. too macho and too much Catholicism. Well, hopefully this changes that. Retired RN says we can't be too trusting. Look at this. Supposed to be the manly sport of soccer or football or football. And it's supposed to be, to be the best or whatever. And this guy got into it to victimize children. I hope he enjoys his new surroundings, and I hope we never see his face again. Please plead guilty so we never have to see your stupid face in the paper ever again. And that you can't hurt any more children. Hopefully we can just get him locked away for his natural born life. He doesn't deserve to be on the streets. They're saying here the LA County DA's office did not respond to questions last week about why a criminal charge in the 2024 assault case wasn't filed before the Hernandez investigation focused on him. Well, I'm guessing they needed something as a holding charge, and they were able to dig that up and connect it to him. And kabang, now you can keep him in prison or in jail until you can charge him with that murder charge. So that's what Ping is saying. Ping is saying that that was just a way for them to hold him for a period of time without probably getting a new warrant or, that type of thing. Yes. We've got some weird noises here today. Hold on. Who's messaging me? All right. No one. All right. Yeah. Well, that is a very sad update. Not the update that I'm glad he's not on the street. That's all I can say. By the way, do you remember this woman, Taylor Shabusiness? What a weird name. She was arrested for killing her lover or partner a number of years ago. She was in court the other day. Did you see that she attacked her attorney in court? But this is not the first time. She attacked a previous attorney in court a couple of years ago. But apparently she tried to attack him again and grumbled some sort of ogreish type words before and during the attack. She really should not be in public ever again. She is one of these people that you see and you're like, they're just so dangerous. They can never be in society ever again. She is one of these people. I swear to God, she is 100% one of these people that should never see the light of day ever again. She is literally crackers. Crackers in the freaking head. I'm serious. She is the definition of never to be released. Here, I'll play it for you.
We're asking for a sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
We're off the record.
No, let's take her.
Portia Moore and her family were
There you go. So she tried to attack her attorney, and this is not the first time. She tried to attack another one a couple of years ago. The other one got beat down. This one, they were ready for it. This one, they knew that she was going to try again. But what the hell did she yell? Chabala! That sounds like some sort of weird kind of war cry for some sort of Amazonian tribe. Shamala! Oh, I don't know what she said. Sounded like some sort of chant or some sort of invoking the spirit of something, the devil. I have no idea, but it was the weirdest cry. You can imagine if she's like, "You bastard" or something, but she just was like, "Ah, blah, blah," and just went to kill him. She's crackers, I'm telling you. Yeah, they just were like, "Bush," and like knocked her down. Yeah, I don't think it was real words. I think it was some sort of like amalgamation of like syllables and random English sounding letters. Uh, still jumped. Yeah, she's done it before though. That's the weird thing. I wonder if I can find the first one. She had one, I think it was in 2020. She attacked her attorney. I don't know if I can find the old one. There was I saw it the other day when I was researching this. Was it 23? Yeah, here. I don't think it has the video, but you can see her here. She's attacking her lawyer. This guy got beat down. They were actually a little late on this one, and they actually let her like get a few hits in. But the second time, this time they were ready for her. But yeah, she really got this guy good. You read comic books? Not for a long time, my friend. Not for a long time. Yeah, like kaboosh, kaboom. Yeah, she's crackers. So she killed her lover or boyfriend. His name was Therian, and yeah, Shad Therian, and she killed him in February 2020. The thing she did with him and his body, she's like, "Oh, I killed him during sex because I wanted to and it felt good." What? She apparently strangled him until blood was coming out of his like mouth, nose, eyes. And she's like, "Oh, I love the way it felt." To the point where she was bragging to officers after her arrest for the things that she did to him. She is literally crackers. Let me see if I can find a little brief overrun on Shad. Poor guy. Just thought he'd found a hot girl. Let's see. Rory, shush. Yeah, if we go to WFRV, this is an old video here.
Now, to one of the most high profile trials in Green Bay history. It's life in prison for the woman convicted of murdering and dismembering her high school friend in the basement of his mother's house. The judge gave 25-year-old Taylor Shabiznis life behind bars without the chance of parole in the strangulation, death, and mutilation of 24-year-old Shad Therian more than a year ago. The defendant's face was covered because Brown County Sheriff's officials said she had been spitting at people at the jail. Her family testified at length about childhood trauma and drug abuse, but the judge said the threat to the public was too great. The woman who once infamously posed for a selfie with a photo of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer refused to issue any kind of statement. The victim's uncle, however, didn't pull any punches and mocked her last name with an expletive. We've only silenced those portions of his statement.
Yeah, I'm sure you knew you had a problem, you know. You can't blame it on childhood. You know, there's help out there. And if you take the path to go get the help, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. None of us would be in this situation. But to take the cowardly path that you did and to make other people suffer because you were suffering is pretty. So that name Taylor business fits you well. And I'm not a praying man, but after Judge Walsh's sentences today, I will pray that you meet the same fate as your idolistic Jeffrey Dahmer. So have a good life, business.
I agree with him. She is and should be called shit business from now on. And I hope she does meet that fate too of Dharma. That is pretty gross. And he's right. You can only blame your actions so far on your life. All of us have had some sort of suffering growing up. It's pretty rare nowadays to find someone who had a perfect childhood. And I speak from experience, someone who had maybe one of the most horrific childhoods ever. I'm not out there killing people because I was hurt, and it's not an excuse for your actions. And I don't believe it. I think he's right that the help is out there if you want it, and it's the brave thing to seek out that help, not to victimize someone else uh, because of what happened to you. And she's just literally the last person that should ever be released, ever. I think she's dangerous, literally dangerous. She is one of these people that would kill again. I guarantee it. There's no redeeming qualities for her at all. At all. There's nothing. There's nothing. You couldn't be like, oh, I think she has some hope in life of becoming like a nail technician. No. Like, no, she'd probably kill her instructor. Like, she's dangerous. Yeah, that's right. I am really Dexter in my pastime. But yeah, she is literally a dangerous person. You see it here in the court things. Like, she attacks people. She attacks jail wardens, and we have someone similar here. Uh, we have someone similar in Australia. There's a woman who killed her mother and chopped off her head and walked around with her mother's head. And apparently she is very much like this woman. She attacks prison guards. She's been in court a number of times for attacking prison guards after she killed her mother. Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, Jessica Camilleri. She is the same. She just is so dangerous. She could never be released, I don't think. She is like a very, very dangerous person. And she's been in jail. She's been back to court several times for attacking people in jail, pulling out the hair of prison guards, bashing prison guards, all sorts of things. She literally walked around with her mother's head and then said to the emergency operator, "Do you think that they could fix her and sew it back on?" She is crazy.
She was her daughter's carer, protector, and only friend. But at 57, Rita Camilleri was killed in the most horrifying manner imaginable.
The unlawful killing of Rita Camilleri on the 20th of July 2019 must be regarded as one of the most serious instances of manslaughter it is possible for any imagination to conjure.
Jessica Camilleri decapitated her mother after stabbing her in the head and neck more than 100 times in their home at St Clair in Western Sydney.
There was about 7 knives I was stabbing her with. A few of the knives broke. When that knife broke, I got another one.
She must have been in extreme pain and both shocked and terrified at what was being done to her by her own beloved child.
During the trial, a jury was told the young woman was inspired by an obsession with horror films and was in a fit of rage over the possibility of being returned to a mental health facility. She immediately confessed to the crime.
I just kept stabbing and stabbing and stabbing her, and I took off her head.
Due to mental health issues, a jury found Camilleri guilty not of murder, but manslaughter. She was sentenced to 21 years in prison with 16 years non-parole. As the sentence was handed down, Mrs. Camilleri's relatives began sobbing.
Yeah, so she may be out one day, and that is very scary considering what she did to her own mother. And you hear it, that's her voice on that 000 call, talking to, operators, saying how I just got another knife and I just kept going, and like when that one broke, I got another one, and then I cut off her head. Like, she is super dangerous. I hope she is never released into the general public ever again. Diane Marie's. It could have been Lisa, or it could have been. It could have been Kathy Lynch. No, it was Catatonic. Catatonic or Lisa. Could have been Catatonic, or it could have been Lisa. I'm not sure which one gave it to you, but I think there was another one given away to someone else, but I'm not sure who got it. but there you go. Yeah, yeah, she got manslaughter due to reason of mental impairment, due to her psychiatric illness. I don't know if mental health services would have helped that girl. It might have saved her mum's life, but I don't think it would have made Jessica Camilleri any less dangerous. She's always had a fascination with knives, always had a fascination with horror movies, and has threatened to cut people's heads off in the past. Like people that upset her, she has threatened to cut their head off. And then she finally did it to her own mother. I hope she's never released, but she's been in court several times for attacking judges. Yeah. Woman who decapitated mother has sentence extended after ripping hair off prison officers. There's a photo of it, by the way. So yeah, she's been convicted a few times. She had her sentence extended by 22 months for assaulting 2 prison officers by ripping out their hair. The court heard that after the first assault, she confessed in a police interview. She said, "I just wanted to give her a little bit of a taste of her own medicine because of how she's been treating me." So this is what she does. She violently acts out with people she does not like. If she thinks you've wronged her, she will harm you. Yeah. She's apparently eligible for parole in July 2032. That may have been increased again because she's been in court a number of other times over attacking people, to the point where people don't want to be put on her watch in prison. They're scared, like the guards are scared of her. So I hope they see that she is not stable enough to ever go into society. Like her mum had tried to get her help. Her mum had like taken her to different centers, and like you heard in the film clip, she was upset that she may go back to a psychiatric facility because her mum couldn't cope with her and what she was doing. And then eventually, like that, killed her mum. Retired and said hopefully she'll keep acting out so her time is increased. But Jessica Camilleri and Shabusiness are very similar people in my opinion. They're offending slightly different, but I think their mental point of view is very similar. That they just don't see any harm in hurting other people, and that they would kill again if given the chance. I don't think either of them are redeemable, and I don't think either of them should ever be in society ever again. So, solitary for life, no parole. I hope so. Wendy, that is very, very kind of you. Thank you for that super chat. It's very generous. $20 super chat. Thank you very much. She says, "Thanks for everything, Ping." No, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Without the viewers, without the people who like the channel, without the people who support the channel, there would be no content. There would be no show every day. It's a two-way street. I have to come here every day and provide the content, and you guys have to consume that content. Without that like two-way relationship, there is no Nights with Ping. So I very much appreciate it. It's very kind. Hey, Video Reel, how's it going, mate? Good to see you. Lisa said sometimes they need long-term places to go. We got rid of those. Yeah, so they got rid of all the sanitarium type places that Australia used to have. That, especially in Victoria, that was the Kennett government. The Kennett government got rid of all those type of psychiatric facilities and basically lumped it all onto the hospital system. And basically got rid of all the private and public ones, or mostly the public ones, and then the private ones couldn't handle when the public system got taken away. And now it's almost impossible to get a bed in Victoria for a psychiatric illness unless you harm yourself or harm someone else. If you do either of those things, I'll find a bed for you. But unless you do any of those, they'll just be like, "Oh, take it to a psychiatrist. It's fine." You know. Lisa said, "Are you going to mention Tony Mockbell?" No, not really. I don't care about Tony Mockbell. Catatonic said they did that in Queensland too. The other one I can think of that's very similar to this is there was a young girl in Victoria, Melbourne here, and she attacked and killed her mum. We covered it on the channel. It happened only like a year or so ago. I can't remember her name though. Was it in Werribee? Irene Hazel? I don't know if that was it. No, I don't think that was it. Joanne Perry? That sounds more like it. Yes, it is that one. It is. It was Joanne Perry. Yes, it was that one. Let me go here. Yeah, Carly Pirinelli. It was Carly Pirinelli. Yeah, she killed her mum and was found in the backyard of the house stabbing her, plunging a knife into her, and would not stop. So they shot and killed her. The police put an end to the threat. Yeah, that's her right there. She killed her mum in a very violent attack. But unfortunately, she's no longer alive because cops killed her because she wouldn't put down the knife. So she's not alive today to be in prison or in court. Guys, 1 second. All right. All right. Okay, Catatonic. Catatonic says, I'm not keen on my mum, but would never harm her. Yeah. I'm not keen on my parents either. I don't like them either, but I wouldn't kill them. I'll just let them go die an old death somewhere. Piss off. Like, I don't care. Let me see if I can get you an update, young woman. So I can't believe Law and Crime actually covered this when it came out, which is, pretty rare. Okay. Yeah, Carly Pirinelli, Lower Plenty stabbing. How young Aussie woman went to desperate lengths to seek answers about her life during a Bali journey before murdering her mother. That's her there with her mum. And apparently her mum had tried, again, everything to get her daughter help. And it just wasn't enough. And she attacked her mum with a knife and killed her. It's happened quite a few times, unfortunately. You don't hear so much about the young women doing it, but you do hear a lot about young men. But it's interesting. We've had quite a few young ladies do this to their mum or dad in Australia. Yeah, it's understood. Pirinelli's family had desperately tried to obtain help for her, but struggled to get any assistance. She had major mental health problems, and they had been trying to get her into a facility. She's been manic or psychotic over the past few weeks and had been trying to get her committed. It's so hard to have people committed, and now she's dead too. It's all very sad. A lot of the time, these people are just on their own. It's pretty scary. A neighbor claimed arguments heard echoing from the property significantly increased this year, or at the time of the killing. Once or twice I thought it was a bit worrying. This is a pretty quiet area, so it was obvious. I'm sure that when she was in a good place, she was a lovely daughter, but when you're psychotic, you're not in control. So, yeah, very sad. So, neither of them are alive now. Neither her mum nor the daughter. Both are not here anymore. There you go. There's a photo of Carly Pirinelli. Lisa said, if you love true crime, watch Underbelly. Melbourne has quite the true crime. I like Underbelly, and I've told you before that in my first few months of moving to Melbourne, I witnessed a gangland hit. I really did. I witnessed a gangland execution. Guy didn't die, but he got shot like a bunch of times. I was walking with my girlfriend, not Mrs. Ping. I was walking with my girlfriend at the time, and we were coming back from a supermarket in Moonee Ponds in Victoria in Melbourne. And as we were walking back, we heard these gunshots go off. And gunshots, especially in Australia, are very, very, you know what they are because you don't hear them a lot down here. So you automatically know it's not fireworks or a car backfiring. You're like, it's it's a gun. And we saw this car come flying down on the opposite side of the road and pull into the police station that was across the other side of the road. We were in the medium strip by that point, and it pulled in right in front of us. And the guy just was slamming on the horn, like beep, and all these cops come rushing out. It's like 1 a.m. in the morning, and he flops out of his car door, and he's just bullet holes and blood. And so, yeah, that was my welcome to Melbourne moment. I witnessed a gangland shooting. What is it? I don't know where they have it now. Maybe Amazon Prime? Maybe Netflix in America might have it. I'm not sure where they show it overseas. Season 1 is the best. The other ones are terrible, but season 1's really good. Season 1 was interesting. I remember when this was like the biggest show in Australia at the time because part of the episodes couldn't be shown in Victoria due to current court cases that were before the court. And then the final 4 episodes got leaked. Someone was selling pirated copies at building sites in Melbourne before they had been aired on TV. So the final 4 or 5 episodes got leaked weeks and weeks early, and Victorians got to see the unedited version of it that had the names of the people involved. But this was back in 2008, but it's still a very good series. If you haven't watched it, it explains a lot of what happened in sort of like the late 80s, more early 90s, and then into the early 2000s in Melbourne about the underworld and the drug dealing and stuff like that. It's a really good series. If you've never watched it, it'd be one I would say. I don't normally recommend dramas. I normally recommend documentaries, but this one is very, very good. Where would it show in the US? So it's available on Tubi, the Roku channel, and Amazon Prime. So if you have either of those 3, you can watch it on those. Underbelly Season 1. It is very good. Maybe YouTube, maybe it's a very old show. Not gangs. So this was the Carlton crew and a bunch of other gangsters. They're not really like bikie gangs. They're more like old Italian, Macedonian, like just old world sort of like gangsters, but like in a current day. There's just different factions and different groups of these people. They used to be friends, and then they weren't friends, and then they broke up, and then they hated each other, and then they killed each other. Catatonic says, I haven't seen the latest series, but love the first few. Number ones, I only like season 1. I've watched all of them, and they're all terrible. Season 1 is very, very good done. Very well done. April B said, Tubi is free to watch. So if you can find it on Tubi or Amazon Prime, I think it is worth a watch. It is very, very well done. And you'll learn about Carl Williams and Fat Tony and a bunch of other different gangsters. But yeah, I wonder if they... Yeah, so those... Yeah, so due to an injunction, only 5 episodes were shown in Victoria, but someone leaked them on a building site in Melbourne, and it got onto torrent sites like by that afternoon. It was like very quick, and everyone had all the later episodes. So, yeah, see, every episode of the 13-part series was soon made available on a range of sites, with the Nine Network saying it was considering legal action. Yeah, I remember they said that they got leaked. So, yeah, because people in Melbourne and Victoria weren't supposed to be able to watch a bunch of the later episodes because they were still before the court. Big deal at the time, and that's how I watched it. I found it from a place that might have a pirate flag. That's how I found it, because it wasn't available in Victoria. Don't know what Tubi is. It's like a free TV catch-uppy, Netflixy type thing. Lisa said, "I would like people to see who Tony Mockbell is and why he's free now." It's a long story, Lisa, especially with the Lawyer X stuff to go through. It would have to be like a whole show. Like when we start talking about Lawyer X and what her involvement is, and that would be it'd be have to be like a whole single episode to do it well. But basically, a lot of the criminals are going free now because there's a woman called Lawyer X. I think her last name is Gobbo. Um, she was a lawyer for a lot of these uh, gangsters, but she was also a double agent. She was working for the police, and she was saying things that were coming from their lawyer client meetings, and she was reporting directly to Victorian police. So a lot of the convictions that have happened to these guys are now getting thrown out of court because how can you have a lawyer that's also a freaking informant to Victorian police? So they basically screwed up their own cases by taking evidence from that lawyer when she was taking it from her clients. So it's a long chain, and maybe one night we can do it. Yeah. So do a whole show. Yeah, we might do one if people want to hear about it. We could do a whole show on the Lawyer X. But yeah, it's basically fraud. It's not fraud. Basically, the judge said that the Victorian police were operating as a criminal cartel by doing this, by having a lawyer that was feeding them information from client attorney privilege, and then they were setting up their court cases based on the information that they were getting from her. It basically made the justice system a joke. Like they weren't getting fair trials. It was like playing for both teams at the same time. Yeah, in sort of like entrapment. Very, very like it's so underhanded. It doesn't paint Victoria Police in a good light. Those police are now gone. It happened like maybe like 10, 15 years ago. They say they have changed now and that they're different, but they're still dealing with the aftermath of all of this, unfortunately. All right. Yeah, maybe I can write a show and then we can talk about it in depth. If it's something that people will, if you've never heard of this type of thing ever happening before, it might make a very interesting show for people. There's a lot, yeah. I mean, look, they put a guy in after the top cop basically had a no confidence vote, so they put a new guy in. That guy has now quit. That guy, the top of Victorian Police, has now quit after like a month. He's like, I don't want the job. I don't want it. And basically left. I know you have a Vic Pol story. I know that. Yeah. Lisa, is it Lisa Gobbo? What's her name? Oh no, Nicola Gobbo. This is her. So she was a Australian former criminal defense barrister and police informant. And yeah, basically working as a double agent. working for a lawyer for criminals and then feeding it back to the police. I would like to talk about mine one day. Well, we can. We'll figure it out. I'm sure we could do a night on Melbourne underworld crime sometime soon. Hold on, guys. All right. Rather you than Trish? I don't think Trish would do it. I don't think she's interested in that type of thing. Well, not that she's not interested in Australian crime, just that she doesn't know a ton about it. I think she would prefer that I did it since I know a bit more about it. I think she'd be interested in listening to it. I just not sure she'd be interested in doing it because she doesn't know enough about it. Yeah, are you racist? Are you racist against Americans? Is that what's going on? You only want to be with your own kind, Lisa? Is that what it is? All right. Let's wrap up for the night. I hope you had a great Monday. I wish we had more updates, but it's been not a super slow day or anything. Actually, I want to do Kathy Lynch's one quickly before we go. What is this? Oh, yes, that's right. Man trapped, rescued, hiding from Colombia authorities in a storm drain. I want to see the photos. Hold on. I didn't get a video. Here we go. Let's go to WKRN. No, that didn't work. All right, hold on. I want to. Oh, it didn't come up for me. Hold on. No, that didn't work. I don't know why this news station is being racist against Australians. For some reason, the video won't pop up for me, but they're saying, yeah, they found him. The man is stuck in a drain. He is sticking his hands out, waving, trying to get someone's attention. Well, that's a very silly place to be stuck, isn't it? The dispatcher said, "Is there water in the drain?" And the person said, "Probably, but I don't think it's super deep. But there is probably water in there," replied the caller. "I don't see how he got in there. We can literally see his hands sticking out and waving." They said, as seen on the video, which we can't play, two hands were sticking out of a metal storm grate on Woodland Street near the Judicial Complex. What the hell? They're saying here, I guess a neighbor heard him calling for help, although he didn't see Harrington waving for help from the gate in his front yard. Gillum said he did see the Columbia Fire and Rescue Department make the rescue. He came out and he was all soaking wet. I was here when they pulled him out and everything. News 2 requested a jailhouse interview with Harrington, but he refused. He was charged with evading arrest related to the drain incident. Yeah, what's his name? Ty Harrington is the man's name. I wish I could find a video of it. Oh man, right away. Yeah, unfortunately for me, it just doesn't. Yeah, it won't show me the WKRN video, which is a shame. Let me see if they got a YouTube channel. Nope. YouTube. Yeah, let's see if they have a YouTube channel where we can get the video. Because I want to see him trying to wave his hands out of the storm grate. Oh yeah, here we go.
Columbia now, where police chase after two suspects until one of them darts into a storm drain. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller. This all happened in the midst of severe weather across Middle Tennessee. News 2's Andy Cordan with the story.
This all goes down behind this Columbia laundromat. Thursday morning, Columbia police are called here for a teenager, a welfare check.
According to the report,
When police arrive, 18-year-old theft suspect Gabrielle Sheffield runs for it.
Shoot down, Andrews.
Joined by 19-year-old Ty Harrington. Police will quickly catch the female. But Harrington, wanted for robbery, darts into a storm drain and scurries under the street.
There is a man stuck in a drain.
Hours later, he'll be discovered when he pokes his hands through the narrow grates and signals for help.
He's sticking his hands out like waving, trying to get somebody's attention. Is there water in the drain? Probably. It's probably not like super deep, but there's probably water in there.
Within a few minutes, Columbia Fire removes the grate, at which point police arrest the 6'3", 180-pound suspect.
I guess neighbor heard him yelling for help.
He was yelling for help?
Yeah.
All of it goes down in David Gillum's front yard.
But it's a long way to crawl through a hole.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 blocks down the road.
You and me ain't doing that.
No. He come out, he's all soaking wet.
Do these things fill up with water?
Yeah. He was soaking wet when he came. I was here when they pulled him out and everything.
So the good news is they got the young man out of the grate. He was wet and dirty. He ended up going to jail. In Columbia, Andy.
Well, that you know what we say, it's a good way to end the night. You don't have to be smart to be a criminal or a murderer, and this just proves it. Get yourself stuck in a storm drain in Tennessee and have to get people to come and rescue you. Please arrest me. I just want out of the storm drain. Please come and get me before I drown. Just charge me with all the crimes. That is funny. Yeah, the finger waving is pretty funny. Yeah, where is it? Here he is.
Probably water in there.
Help, help. Look, help. Look, I'm here. I'm in the drain. Look, 2 hands. Criminals are silly, very silly. You'll see me at Aaron's trial. Okay, well, we are getting ready for it. It is going to be a interesting 2 weeks. If we get a trial, I hope it's still happening. I haven't heard anything serious. I haven't heard anything like they've called it off or it's getting moved. So right now, as far as I know, we're still going to trial in a couple of weeks after Easter. So after Easter, we'll be at the trial at the end of the month. So I'll be there. We're going to be there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and then I've got... if I'm still doing this other project, I have another project that's somewhat related to Aaron that I can't tell you guys much about right now. Anyway, when I get the permission from these people to talk about it a bit more, I will tell you. But I'm working on a different project that's got something to do with Aaron. And yeah, so we got a lot of work to do. We got trial, we got this other thing, we've got it's going to be a busy 2 weeks, really, really busy. But I'm hoping it's all going to be really worthwhile at the end. I think at the end it's going to be worthwhile. I think you are all going to enjoy it. I think it's going to be very interesting to show you all a court case from Victoria and Australia. And we get to hear more details about what did Aaron know? How much do they think it is premeditated and why? And exactly what do they think the motive is for all of this? Why would she sit there and watch people eat this meal? And did she know? I think she did. Like, basically, it was going to kill him. This was going to be the last time she was going to see these people as they sat down and dug into this beef Wellington. Oh, yum, what a great beef Wellington, all these mushrooms. And gee, it tastes a little funny. No, they were dead less than a week later. 3 out of the 4 died. One of them needed a freaking liver transplant. And she sat there, stone-faced in that kitchen, served that food, and watched these people eat it, knowing they would most likely pass away from poisoning. We need to know more about that. We need to find out exactly what happened in that house and what happened in the days and weeks preceding that meal. How did we end up here? Why are we in court? What happened with the ex-husband? Why was he poisoned 3 times? How did that happen? All these questions we will try and answer in a couple of weeks. Yes, we can do a show where I can explain the court system in Australia. I am going to do a better catch up. The one we did last time where I lost all my notes and all my videos and everything wasn't very well done. So I will do a second one that's more comprehensive and we'll go back through everything and I'll explain what to expect at the trial. I'll explain how long it might run, the different stages of an Australian trial, the different legal precedents that we might have to look out for. Will they have a seat for Ping? Probably. I heard they might be opening up more areas for more media because apparently there's going to be a lot of interested people who want to watch the trial in person. So it'll be interesting. You'll say hi to you, yeah. We can get Lisa on the live stream. Gail said, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit it before you go. Yes, please do so. I would appreciate it. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully, we have some more interesting updates tomorrow. I did not do any Lori Vallow. I'm sort of watching it from afar, but I think there's more competent people that can do the Lori Vallow trial. I'm just not super interested. I'm interested personally, but not as content. I think there's Kresha and there's the reporters out of Arizona. They're doing a great job. There's some great other channels doing Lori Vallow content. I think they're a better watch than me on the subject. So sick of Lori Vallow. Gayla says, I'm watching bits as she gets me really angry. Yeah, she's probably, Kathy, probably. He was in a storm drain. What do you think is in a storm drain? Cotton candy and unicorns? No, he did have yuck on his hands. All right. Hey, I love you all. Good night, everyone. Thank you to the people who donated. Thank you very much to Wendy R, Lisa, Catatonic, and Lisa again. And to Peekaboo Cockatiel. Thank you very much for that donation to the PayPal. That is very kind. It helps out a lot. I feel like we're just, not that it's a cry for help. I just feel like when you try and take on these big projects, it just feels like you are bleeding cash. It's just one of those things when you try and do a lot of things for a long period of time. It's not like we're going up for one day. So there's a lot of things that we've got to sort out and, this and that. And it's 2 weeks. It's half a month. It's half a month away. So it's longer than I went to Tasmania. I went to Tasmania for 5 days. This one we're going for like 14 days. So it'll be interesting. Gail said the speech Kresha did Sunday night at the start of her show was so well said. I haven't seen it, but I do drop in and watch Kresha's videos like once or twice a week. I just don't always get a chance to do it every day. I will check out what she said though. I was hoping to get her on the channel, but everyone's like, ask Kresha to come on. She never gets asked by channels to go on other channels. So I did, and I never heard anything back. So I think she's just busy with the trial. I think she's just, I'm joking. I think she's just really busy with the trial. Maybe after the trial we can do something. Gayla said it was about Charles and in baseball terms. I'll check it out. I love Kresha. She's a lovely lady. All right. Love you all. Have a great Tuesday out there tomorrow for all of you in America. Have a great Wednesday in Australia. I'll be back tomorrow night for Tuesday night, Nights with Ping. Good night. Bye.